Welcome, y'all, to Just Jelly Unfiltered. Are you looking for conversations that are raw and authentic? Then you're in the right place. It's more than just a podcast. It's a community. Now, here's your host, Jen.
Hey friends, welcome back to Just Jelly Unfiltered. We're kicking off season 3. I can't believe it. It just seems so unreal. I hope that if this is your first time listening, you feel welcome and right at home because we are becoming besties one episode at a time. I love learning about you guys, so make sure you're reaching out, commenting. I love hearing from you guys. It just makes my heart happy because I truly do love being able to connect, even if it's just virtual, with you guys. I am your host, Jen. I want to check in on you guys. How have you been? How is 2025 treating you so far? I can't believe we're already to August. School is kicking off. I don't know if you guys are back in school yet, if you're listening to this. My daughter starts back next week. She did 2 summer programs this year. She did Harvard and Johns Hopkins both invited her to their medical program for summer, which was exciting, but also a lot on me as a mom. So yeah, it's just time to check in, check up, and see how you guys are doing. I know some of you have reached out. You've noticed a shift in my content, and I hope that you're loving it and you can see, honestly, that it's for the better. I'm changing. It's forever evolving. I'm not the same person that I was last season or even last week, for that sake. Goodness gracious. Let me just tell you, we are forever changing. And when I was going through this season of life, it really got me thinking. No one really talks about the in-between. So this season feels personal on a whole new level. We're going to be diving into what it means to live in the middle, the messy, unfiltered space that no one really prepares us for. We hear men going through midlife crisis. Oh, he's dating someone younger, he's bought a car, or he's getting Botox, he must be going through midlife. But no one really dives into what that looks like for a woman. And I experienced that. That's what I've been going through the past probably 17, 18 months. Is I kind of felt like I was at a midlife crisis. I do have my laptop here with me. I normally just wing it, but I wanted to make sure that I had my notes and I'm getting the best episode possible out to you guys. Going through midlife, that's the first thing you experience is brain fog. It's real. It's a real thing. It's no joke. So that's what I want to dive into this episode about because last season really did crack something open in me. I grew. I found healing in places I didn't even expect. I dealt with trauma that I didn't even realize I was still carrying. But as I was sitting there with it and I was naming it and processing it and sitting with it, I realized something really big. No one is talking about the messy middle, the middle we go through in life. That doesn't mean I have it all figured out or I have all the answers. I'm still going to make mistakes. I'm still going to screw up and say the wrong thing at times. But my promise to you this season is I'm going to keep showing up as your perfectly imperfect podcast host. And if you're showing up in your own life, take this moment to give yourself a round of applause because this is not an easy season. And we're going to be having all those hard, unfiltered conversations this season around friendships, change in life, whether you've gone through a divorce, getting ready to be an empty nester, or maybe you've had a shift in friendships or relationships and how you deal with that. We're going to be diving into all of that this season on Just Jelly. Living in the middle can genuinely feel like an identity crisis, or it did for me. Realizing my body was changing because I can guarantee you one thing. These aren't the same knees that took me from the windows to the walls. Entering perimenopause made me feel like some days I was losing my mind. I couldn't keep track of things. I was losing my car keys, my phone. I felt like I was spending half my time looking for everything around me versus actually being productive. I went through a career change. I'm semi-retired now. So I've been enjoying my pool days, going to the beach, and now I get to hang out with you guys even more and hopefully grow this community to be something even bigger than I could have even imagined. I noticed that my relationships and priorities were shifting and I couldn't quite keep up with myself. Grieving my past while holding hope for my future really was a struggle without a map. No one really tells you how, when you are going through life, you see your life in a certain movie. It kind of plays out in your mind. I'm very visual. And then when that didn't happen, and then just grieving what I thought was going to be my future, really was a mind shift. Like, I went through a grieving process. Most of you know my older daughter went no contact, and grieving someone who is still alive is something else we're going to dive deep into this season, because not a lot of people talk about that. And let me just tell you, it was one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my entire life. It felt like an identity crisis for myself, because many of us are watching our children leave the nest and we're becoming empty nesters during this midlife. No one really prepared me for that. Empty nest syndrome is a real thing. You know, they talk about when you get pregnant, you start nesting. I've been empty nesting. I've been organizing, cleaning out, trying to eliminate anything that I don't need, preparing for the next chapter. It's a real thing. And as bittersweet as it is, watching them spread their wings and fly little birdies away, for us as parents, we're losing a piece of us, our identity. I mean, for years, I've identified as, oh, you're so-and-so's mom. Oh, you're so-and-so's mom. I was mom. And now that label is going to be changing when I meet new people. I'm just going to be just Jen. It made me really start questioning who just Jen is as a person. I felt disconnected from some of my old friends. You know, that's another thing that people don't really talk about as we're healing and we take different journeys or different paths in life. We're not always going to feel connected to the same people that we were before, because we're changing. We're not quite who we wanted to become yet. So we can go through this period of just feeling lonely because we don't necessarily connect with our old group of friends, but yet we haven't found our new tribe yet. So we're in the middle. And it can be very emotional. Those quiet moments, that's the wildest part about it all, is no one really prepared me for the loneliness, the quietness, just while also feeling full. It was a weird feeling. Like, I felt happy and full and content, but sad and lonely all at the same time. Like, just navigating those emotions, it can be a struggle. I feel like, though, if we started normalizing talking about the middle or in between, I think it would make it easier for us all. I think as our friendships we need to develop, we learn more about people when we are having these unfiltered conversations of the struggles we're going through, of what we've been dealing with. You can also open the doorway to help others who are also struggling, who are struggling in silence. Because while the middle can be scary, it can be healing. It can be evolving. It can answer a lot of questions. We can look at it as we're rebuilding. It's an opportunity. I think I talked about it in another one of my episodes in season 2. Like, when I was turning 40, I thought, oh my God, my life is over. It's the end. When I just realized I'm at the beginning of the book, honey. I am starting new chapters. And this last chapter was the one of growing, healing, dealing with my trauma, because a lot of us haven't dealt with our trauma, because it's easier to sweep it under the rug, which makes it harder to us to connect in relationships with other people, because we don't want to talk about it. But if we start dealing with it and we normalize it, it can be a breakthrough all at once. I mean, I can't even put into words what a new person I feel like. I actually went into a bar for the first time by myself, met 2 complete strangers. I sat and talked to them for several hours, so I knew that, hey, they weren't going to do anything. They were parents of other kids who were at the camp. We ended up going to Salem, and I had one of the best days of my life. But the old Jen, I would have never done that. I would have been scared, terrified, living in those thoughts of what I was brought up to believe. Don't talk to strangers, which, hey, I'm not condoning go out, talk to every stranger. Stranger danger is still a real thing for our kids. But what I'm saying is, when we move outside our comfort zone, amazing things can happen. And I have experienced some of those things through this process. Living in that messy middle is something that I just wasn't warned about. I was taken off guard. And in fact, until I started this podcast, I hadn't heard of very many women talking about it openly, the messy in between, especially when it came to menopause. I do know that people are starting to talk about that a little bit more now, and its side effects, the change, as we like to call it. But it hit me hard. Life didn't just shift. It spun faster than a merry-go-round. And I wasn't prepared for the emotional and physical whiplash that was to follow. And honestly, I have told my significant other that had we not gone through what we had gone through, and I'm going to do a whole episode on that, over the last few years, I can see why a lot of people get divorced during this period, because As a woman, I had no clue what was going on with my body, my mind. I've always been very sharp, multitasking, lots of energy, and it just wasn't hitting the same. Over the last 5 years of my life, the labels I had identified with my entire life were shifting, whether I wanted them to or not. Whether it was mom, wife, separated, girlfriend, stepmom, whatever the labels were, they were shifting. And it just felt like I was on shaky ground. I didn't have a good footing. The weight of the world was on my shoulders. And I didn't know really what to do about it. It was like I was unraveling at the seams. But then when I stop and I look back at that period now, I feel like I was just given the opportunity to rewrite my own story. And when we change our perspective on how we're viewing it, it really honestly can be freeing. It wasn't easy. It's never easy. Change is never easy. If somebody tells you, oh, if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to have this perfect life, it's going to be a miracle, they lying to you. They be lying to you. Don't believe them. When I say the journey of the last few years hasn't been an easy one, I separated from my husband for 2 years. And yes, that's a whole nother episode on its own. I know I've been telling you guys that for the past 2 seasons, but I really am ready to talk about it and process it and tell you guys about it. But after a very long journey of working on ourselves individually and becoming best friends, we found our way back to one another and now living our best life. I know it sounds crazy, but it works for us. It worked for us. And I think anything is possible if you're willing to put in the work. While also going through all of that, my oldest daughter moved out. She got sick. And then about 9 months ago, she went no contact with no real explanation, no goodbye. I found myself just laying on the bathroom floor more than once crying, God, why me? Why? Why is this happening? And just mourning someone who was still alive was something I just wasn't prepared for during this period. I didn't know. I had never gone through anything like this before. My health took a turn from the worst, from all the stress, my lupus that I had put out of mind, out of sight, thought that I was, I don't know, some miracle cure is now out of remission. So I was trying to get that back under control. You know, it's just something that I just hadn't let myself deal with, which was my health. Tensions with my mother flared up again, and it just opened up a bunch of old wounds that I hadn't dealt with. And I did type this out because I don't want to get emotional, because I do still get emotional talking about this friendship breakup. But I went through a friendship loss, and I think it did really hurt more because she knew what I was dealing with. She knew how sick my daughter was and that she was dealing with things mentally. And so I think that's why it cut a little deeper, probably. I don't know. I loved her like a sister. And for her to just choose to cut ties without really any explanation, it hurt. It made me feel like, well, was I not important to her? Did she not love me? Did I do something wrong? Because there was no blow up, no screaming match. It was just silence. And silence is deafening. I reached out through my healing process and I texted her, and her explanation was, I just didn't feel like I was meeting your expectations as a friend. I'm like, what expectations? Like, I'm like a potted plant. I'm one of the most easiest people to get along with. As long as you communicate with me, I can compromise, meet you in the middle. Like, I've lived with my husband's ex-wife, if that tells you how easygoing I am. Like, I can pretty much do anything as long as you communicate with me. And to be honest, I don't think I'll ever get clarity on the whole situation. We had a conversation prior to a vacation that we went on, and I told her some things that had hurt my feelings. And she had always told me, oh, just be open, honest, have unfiltered conversations with me. And she had done something that did hurt my feelings, and I wanted to communicate that with her so it didn't just fester and get worse. And I thought we were all good. We went on our trip. We took pictures. We traveled. We were talking. We were having girl talk. So I really did feel like after we got back home, I was kind of blindsided. I was confused. I was heartbroken. I was lonely, lost. Something I just would never want to invoke on another human being as long as I'm alive. Like the pain I felt, and I did feel like, yes, money played a role in this friendship breakup. I'm a very giving person, and often when I don't have my boundaries in place, I tend to get hurt more often. I'm not blaming any one thing. I'm not blaming her. I'm not blaming me. Because if I'm being frank, I don't have a damn clue what happened. I thought we were all good. But But since going through the healing process, well, see, I'm getting tongue tied just talking about it. But going through this healing process, I had to really just reach out to her. And I did in March. It took me a minute. And get it off my chest and forgive her. Even though I'll never hear I'm sorry, I just had to forgive her and I just have to let it go because I'm never going to find that closure. But because all of this was happening at once, it felt like a personal attack on me. It felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, quite literally, and I was spiraling. I retreated, I isolated, I slipped into a depression. My panic attacks returned. I had not dealt with those in many years, but they came back louder than ever. My hormones was out of control. I felt like my mind was spiraling. I just felt like everything around me, I had no control over anything. I hope you guys can relate because if not, maybe it is just me. But I was spiraling. I isolated. I was in the middle of filming or recording season 2 for you guys, and it wasn't the season that I had planned. I had to take a break. I talked about it in the season finale. If you've not listened to it, go back. But it really was a season that I had to go through to get to where I'm at today. To say this past year was a storm would be putting it mildly. Honestly, it was a shit show. It was for every 1 mile of road, there was that much of a ditch. That's the best way I can describe it. But yet, when I sit back and I really process it, I can still see beauty in it. I can see a new me. Even in the loneliness, I still had those moments that I needed to celebrate. Honestly, that was one of the hardest parts for me was I was feeling sad and lonely and depressed and separated, but also joy, happiness, contentment. And I didn't know how to process that. I didn't know how I could feel both ways at one time. It really was a new experience. And even in the grief, it felt scary, but it felt like I was being set apart, separated. I felt like I was being called to refocus, reconnect. I had not been in my Christian walk the way that I should have. I was angry with God about a lot of things. And I really did take a step back and reconnect and go back to my core and start over again. And I can see now how a lot of the things that I viewed as hurtful or hard in this time was building me up. It was rebuilding me. I feel like I had lost, perspective on what I wanted to achieve with the podcast, in my work, who I wanted to be known for, what I wanted to be remembered for doing. I had lost all that. I wasn't being my true, authentic self. I had put on all these masks. I was people pleasing. I was worried about what other people were going to think. And through that, it had made me forget why I started in the first place. So you may not be lost. You may be just getting started. Have you ever felt that way? Like life is just stripping you down to rebuild you stronger? Because I feel like that's what happened to me. In the middle, it's not an easy place to be. But you can find the best version of yourself if you go through the process. I realized I had abandoned a lot of my boundaries. So when I moved here, if you would have asked me when I moved to Florida, I would have said, I know exactly who I am. I know my self-worth. I know who I am. I'm worthy. I'm enough. I'm loved. I would have told you all those things. But in reality, I was just as lost as when I started. Because and even now, I still have to tell myself as I'm doing this episode, because I never want to come off as I have it all together or I have found the fountain of youth or any of those like pitchy sells moments. I have to be kind to myself and know that there may still be another period that comes where I'm separated or I'm at my worst, that I have to remember this moment that I came out, and what doesn't break us will only make us stronger. And I'm still here today. It didn't break me. It built me. I'm not who I used to be, but I'm not quite where I want to be either. And that's not a bad thing. I know we've all felt that way, but it has taught me a few things. It taught me how to be resilient. Not that loud, push on, smile through, pretend, fake it till you make it, but that whisper that I can do hard things. I got this. And I can do hard things even if no one's clapping for me. I can be my own cheerleader. I can be my own best friend. I don't have to have someone When we become less codependent upon the things of the world and we are just dependent upon ourselves, that is truly our superpower. It taught me to let go of the steering wheel just a little bit, to surrender. I've got to let go. Mel Robbins said it best of let them. I've got to let go. I can't control people's reactions, their choices, their opinions of me. I've also realized that what people think of me, their opinions, is none of my business. I don't need to know it. I have to let go of the timeline I thought I was going to be on. I am hardest on myself. I'm my own worst enemy. And I always think that I need to be 5 steps ahead of where I'm at. And I'm a workaholic, and I've had to let go of that some. I'm beginning to enjoy the slower pace life, the slower version of me. I told my daughter I've been in the lazy girl era just a little bit, but it did. It helped me learn to surrender. I reestablished boundaries in my relationships, in my life, because real ones, not ones that I just talk about or say I'm going to do, the ones I'm really putting in to protect my peace and my energy, and just realizing that that's not rude. It's okay to sometimes choose me, choose myself, my energy. And I'm going to continue doing that moving forward. I'm going to do the things that I love and that I'm passionate about. And I'm going to be okay with saying, thanks for inviting me, but I can't attend, or no, thank you. That's not on my bingo card for today. Like, I was never a no person, but there is power in saying no. There is power in saying, I can't do that right now, and accepting that I need to take care of myself and put my own air mask on first. It's softened me. It's helped me to realize that I don't have to be so hard on myself. I can let myself cry, rest, feel, or just be who I need to be. Softness isn't a weakness. It's a strength without armor. It's just building us up. I had a friend tell me sometimes a good cry is what we need. I was reinvented. I've started over. I've started new content. I've changed up my content. I've changed up my goals and who I want to be and where I want to go in life. Growth doesn't always look like a glow up. It's not always just going and getting a facial or changing our hair color or our appearance. Sometimes it's the glow up within that can be the most powerful. I'm rewriting my story, and you can do it too at any age, in any season of life. So often we've been told that, oh, you're in your 40s, life is over, or oh, you're in your 50s and you're retired. You can't do this or you can't do that. No, you can do anything that you want to, even if you see that it's going to be hard. I feel like the fear of failure is what holds us back a lot of the time. And if we can overcome that fear, that's just another superpower in our arsenal of tools that we can have, because we're still going to have those moments of, oh my God, what am I going to do now? The weight of the world is back on my shoulders. And the truth is, none of us have it all together. Not even the people that are online that look flawless, not the friend who seems all composed, not even the version of you that you're working so hard to keep from falling apart. None of us have it all together. Here's the real question I have for you. What if we let go of all the pressures to just keep smiling in our world if it's falling apart? What if we were able to actually open up and be vulnerable about what we're going through with the ones around us, our family, our friends? What would happen? Would the world fall apart? No. What if we stopped carrying it in silence, the expectations to juggle it all, family, friendships, career, or look a certain way? Social media today has us feeling like we have to look a certain way, we have to have a certain amount of friends, and the expectations just keep getting higher. They're not going down. They're just I tell everybody, I'm so thankful that I'm not a new parent now, because even baby reveals, they're so elaborate, I couldn't keep up. Even just managing our health as women, what if we just let all those expectations fall to the wayside? Would we fall apart? I just want you to know that you don't have to have it all figured out. The goal is to just keep moving forward. Strength isn't about never struggling. It's about choosing to rise above even when we feel shaky, like the ground underneath us is shaking. It's to keep going. We think the middle means we're stuck, but maybe it's just a scared stretch in between who we were and who we were meant to be. I want to leave you with a couple of affirmations in this episode of you're not behind, you're not lost, you're just in the process. You don't have to rush your healing. It's a journey. It's not a race. You're allowed to want more even if your life looks fine on the outside. You're not invisible, even if you feel unseen. And you are allowed to rewrite your own story as many times as you need to, even midway through. If you're living in the beautiful, messy middle, right now, I want you to know I see you, I hear you, and I am here for you. You're not alone. Because I did go through it alone, and I went through it in silence because I didn't know what else to do. But now I've realized that this is my safe space, and I can hang out with you guys, and I can talk about it, and you guys won't judge me, and I won't judge you. This is a judgment-free zone. But yeah, I just want you to know I'm here for you. And if you need anything, I am here. I will DM you back. I'm not always living in my DMs or in my emails. I have my assistants sometimes doing that, but someone will get back to you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Just Jelly. Excuse my nerves. I was a little nervous. This is the first time we've recorded a full episode, edited, and put it out there for you guys. It's been a minute since I've been behind the mic, but it's definitely different being on camera and trying to look at my notes and making sure I'm staying focused on you guys. And I'm your perfectly imperfect podcast host. But we have a lot of great episodes to follow. We're going to be diving into everything midlife, starting over in your 30s and 40s to friendships and the importance of making friendships in adulthood and the struggles behind it. Like, I'm excited for that one. We're going to be talking about blended families. We have a lot of hot topics we're going to be talking about this season. So I hope you'll stay tuned. And until next time, just stay sweet out there. And remember, the deeper you dive, the sweeter it gets. And I love you guys.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Just Jelly Unfiltered. Or check out our website, justjellypodcast.com. Thanks again for your support. And we'll catch you in the next episode of Just Jelly Unfiltered.